Joker drew on his hands.
Oh,
I was like, I should see if PJ wants it.
Nobody likes the women don't like the Joker.
Yeah. No, she just doesn't like that he's got poo in his hands.
I came in at the wrong part of this conversation.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
What's up?
So, yeah, welcome to podcast. What's up, guys?
Are we on right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, show started, man. That's it. We don't.
I've never podcast before. I hope I don't sink this ship.
That's all right. We sink this ship every fucking week.
It's already pretty low.
Can I start off by complimenting BJ on a very nice curio cabinet? Have you guys talked about this on the podcast?
We have! We've been talking about it for weeks.
I listened back a couple weeks, did a little research on podcasts before I came over here, and I was like, they keep mentioning this cabinet.
We did.
I like that now that anyone that comes by your house has got to be like, all right, cut the shit. Show me the curio cabinet, all right? Your girlfriend, your kid, they're all great, but where's the curio cabinet I've been hearing so much about?
I walked in the door. I didn't want to see Jackie. I was wanted to see this curio cabinet.
That's the real star of the show.
First off, Keith, I'm very happy to have you on the show. Welcome.
Look, I haven't seen you in like close to 20 years almost?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. not since biology class in high school. So yeah.
I haven't seen him in almost a decade, and I talk to him every fucking week.
Yeah, I don't even know what he looks like. So it's I just my pen pal club really paid off. I mean, I got a podcast out of it.
There was the one guy in jail, and there was BJ.
So I'm pumped to talk to you because I'm so curious about wrestling in general. So I want to well, first off, how would we introduce you? So we have a guest on the show. It's not just me and BJ, two dumb idiots talking about nonsense that we're not qualified to talk about.
We're up to 3.
Yeah.
So how would I want to make sure I give you the correct title and whatnot. Is it indie wrestler? Is it what? How do we?
Yeah, it's indie wrestling. Yeah.
Indie wrestling. So what? And you have a show coming up soon. What is it? It's ECPW. Is that correct?
Yeah, ECPW Hudson Valley. I got a show in Ellenville on October 14th, and then a big one October 21st in Highland Mills at St. Patrick's. That one I'm fighting for the heavyweight championship at.
Nice.
That's awesome. So that's like majorly, that's like pay-per-view worthy kind of stuff.
Pay-per-view indies.
Pay-per-view indies. On your local public access.
They charge $20.
So closed circuit that you can only watch it live.
I'm thinking topping that. You want to just shut this down now? That's the night.
All right, it was great. So if you want to get tickets, I don't know where to go, but that's.
So I don't either. I have a few tickets. I think they're selling tickets at Jay's Deli and Highland Mills. We got a weekly TV show on Time Warner Cable Public Access on Saturday nights.
So how does one get into indie wrestling?
You find a school, and you pay them a lot of money, and then you just keep going and training. And if you don't give up, you'll start getting bookings, and then you just go from there, I guess.
That's it. So you went through the training, and then they kind of found spots for you because you kept showing up.
Well, I found a school in New Jersey, in Rahway, New Jersey, about 2 hours away, and I was going there 3 times a week for a year and a half. So it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of your time, a lot of time away from my wife at the time, to train. Then I was, wrestling for them for a while. Then I ran into a little life hiccup, and I stopped working with them. But I picked up with this group, ECPW Hudson Valley, which does a lot of local shows. Like sometimes we're in Newburgh, sometimes we're in Ellenville, all around. I also still do a couple different companies in New Jersey too. But yeah, you build your name, and then other promotions will hear about you, see your stuff on YouTube or wherever, and maybe they like you and they book you, maybe they don't, and you don't get booked. It's almost like it's your own independent contractor, like a musician would be, booking gigs at bars and stuff, just that kind of thing. It's just the more you put into it, the more you'll grow. If you don't, then you won't. Yeah.
How was the whole training process? Like a year and a half, did you not get any shows for that whole period? And
no, they had student shows and stuff, and they'd put together. They had their main shows. If they'd book former names and stuff like Diamond Dallas Page and Big Van Vader and stuff, and
cool.
and occasionally you can get on one of those shows, but then you have smaller shows just for the students to give them exposure in front of a crowd so they feel comfortable and they can work on their stuff and yeah.
All right. That's so. What is your in-ring persona? Is it how did you come up with something like that?
Well, I just as far as my name, I just go by Migs, just like I have since middle school.
How'd you come up with that?
My gym teacher gave it to me because he couldn't pronounce Miliarini.
That's awesome.
My character, I kind of wanted to do like this superhero thing and be the good guy face and stuff, the baby face. And I was doing it for a couple of years, and I got cheers and stuff here and there when I did big moves and stuff, but the fans weren't really connecting with me for some reason.
Was it all the racial slurs and the middle fingers? Because that'll do it. Those are a lot of complaints we got on this show.
Yeah. All those good guy things. You're like Hancock. I was Hancock.
So one day I just decided that I'm going to switch it, and I was still going to be like I'm a superhero, but do it from the reverse side. Like I became a bad guy, but I still presented myself as a hero. So I kind of villained out because the crowd didn't like me, and for some reason that connected. And now I'll go out there, and as soon as I walk through the curtain, they're booing me. They want the good guy to win. I did a couple years trying to be a good guy. Didn't work. Just did the same kind of gimmick, but flipped it, and that worked.
Hey, it worked for Batman. I mean, that's basically his role now, right?
Nobody wants the good guy to win if the villain's not any good.
I ripped off Batman, and because I was trying to be a hero before, I call myself the hero that they deserve. I'm not the hero they want. I'm the hero they deserve, kind of thing.
So fuck you.
I got that on the back of my T-shirt. Hopefully, I don't get a copyright infringement thing.
I mean,
the rest of the internet does it for stealing that every day still.
But I'm selling merchandise with it on it.
Oh, you know this is on the internet, right?
So where can you buy that merchandise, Keith?
I'm also stealing Game of Thrones.
If you want to buy that merchandise, you have to buy tickets to my show.
The only way to do that is to find him in the parking lot. So just
no, there's a flyer and stuff that we can post up on the show notes for everybody who's interested.
And my ugly mug's on it.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely we'll link it up in the show notes with a dot, and then if there's other places that we can go, we'll link up. I think I saw like a flyer or something, so we'll put that up there.
Yeah,
for them to check you out. I think wrestling is something that I'm like on the sidelines with. I was into wrestling years ago during like the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars with that. I feel like that's when everyone was.
I feel like you might have been during the Hulk Hogan era. I feel like everybody was a fan of wrestling at some point. It's something everybody has in common.
Yeah, that's an inescapable thing to like at one point.
You might not be into it now, but you might have been when you were a kid. Yeah. You might not have been when you were a kid. You might have found it later in life, like the Attitude Era. You might like John Cena now. I feel like everybody at some point in their life comes across wrestling and likes it for a while. I just happen to have liked it my entire life.
So that's something like. So you've always been a wrestling fan? Do you remember your early days of watching it?
Oh, I still have pictures of me at 3 years old with Hulkamania shirts on.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I always wanted.
And I have pictures of me at 34 with Hulkamania.
At least you can rip them now whenever you feel like it. I tried to rip that shit when I was like a 4 or 5 year old kid. All right, not 4 or 5. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but now if you try to rip it, you're gonna be like, oh no, shit, that costs money. Like I can't. I want to rip the shirt.
Wait, I paid for this.
Yeah, I think, but what's funny to me is that there's, or just really interesting, there's this really strange overlap between wrestling fans and the comic book community, and like in like the Venn diagram of nerddom, that is a very big overlap. And anytime that there's like a pay-per-view on, my Twitter feed is just nonstop like wrestling, and it's completely unavoidable. And I'm like, when did this happen? That like all of a sudden there's this convergence between the two. And it seemed like overnight, and like now I'm like watching this from the sidelines about like, all right, I could jump back into this. Like, where do I go? How do I jump back into this? And I honestly don't even know where to start.
Well, it's crazy because back in the 80s, you know, wrestling was like, back in the 80s and 90s, it was like a bunch of giant men. They were all, you know, backstage doing drugs and drinking and stuff when they weren't wrestling. And all these kids were watching wrestling back in the day. All those kids are now grown up. They're the wrestlers, but they were also into comic books and stuff. So now backstage at like WWE and indies and stuff, instead of all the wrestlers doing drugs and stuff, they're literally back there reading comic books and playing video games because they were the nerds as kids and they grew up and they got into it, just like myself. That you know, so a lot of comic book themes get played out in wrestling too, because the wrestlers liked both. So you'll see groups called the Shield or superhero wrestlers, or you know, they have kind of connected and crossed over. Yeah, WWE's got their own comic book too.
That's right. Yeah, they just started with Boom Studios.
A WWE comic book today that you posted?
Oh, not today, no.
Oh.
I was at Main Street today
things up.
because I was over at Main Street Comics today because it's officially Batman Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was bummed. There was no place near me that was doing Batman Day this year. So last year, if you recall, I fucking schooled a bunch of 8-year-olds in Batman trivia and took home a sweet Batman print.
A year later, you're still talking about cheating.
Yeah, I'm not cheating. Okay, we won fair and square, but fuck all those 8-year-olds. And now I
win fair and square. Your son was the entrant, and you gave him all the answers.
Oh yeah, but guess where that print is hanging? In my basement. Okay, not in his room. I fucking earned that shit. Thank you.
Congratulations, son. I'll just hang your trophy in my room.
You'll thank me later.
You learn to cheat on your own, maybe you can have a fucking poster.
When you school your father in Batman trivia, then you can have this.
Your son's gonna grow up thinking, I can take my dad in trivia.
In Batman trivia. So I think I'm remembering back, like when I remember I can remember the first pay-per-view I got, which was like, it was a Survivor Series, and I don't know what year it was, but I remember like the main event was like this U.S. versus like foreigners fight, and it was like Lex Luger Tatanka, the fucking like really really offensive Native American stereotype.
94.
And what is it 94?
I think so. Was it like Ludwig Borga and Yokozuna?
Yeah, it was like Yokozuna, the Quebecers, I think, were like. And I was like, yeah, we hate Japan and Canada. And they're all going down. I don't remember who the other. Yeah, it must have been Ludwig Borga, and then the fucking Smoking Guns were on the other team. And it was like, I don't remember anything else from that pay-per-view aside from that was just like, that was the first pay-per-view I got, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The casual racism back in the day for wrestling was fucking superb.
It was great.
Yeah, like
tomahawk chop.
Yeah,
if you're not from USA, you're the bad guy.
Yeah, everybody.
And even if you are for the USA, you might be an Indian.
And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'd like to really like use some of my heritage in the in in my act and everything. All right, that's cool. All right, put this headdress on and go around doing a war dance. All right, can you do that for us?
Smash this peace pipe over the guy's head.
When we were kids, I had no idea that Yokozuna was actually Samoan. And now that we're older, I'm like, yeah, he was obviously Samoan, but a Japanese guy.
But yeah, I guess they just find whatever works or barely. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, let's throw this in there and see what sticks.
You're a 400-pound guy that kind of looks Japanese. You're a sumo wrestler now.
You're just the right light shade of brown to pull off Japanese for some reason. You know, that country where everyone's 5'4" and 106 pounds soaking wet.
In the early 2000s, there was this guy, Muhammad Hassan, and he got in trouble. He didn't get in trouble, but he ran into the situation where like they were doing this angle where he kidnapped somebody, and but then the same night that episode aired, people were kidnapped by terrorists in London, so they had to scrap the entire game.
Oh, Jesus.
So they were kind of doing a racist thing, but then it got real, so they had to.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about Muhammad Hassan was he wasn't even Middle Eastern; he was Italian.
Holy shit! See, I knew Italy was up to no good. This proves it.
It all comes back. It's all connected.
Take that, Benizi.
It's me, the terrorists. I get it, man. It works. Did you see the Super Mario Brothers Super Show is on Netflix now?
It went off?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. My kid just found it, and he's like, I want to watch Mario. And I'm like, oh, sure, go ahead. What the fuck is this? And
Yeah, it's been on for a little while.
Oh,
I tried to show it to my daughter, but she wasn't having it.
Esme loved it when she was a kid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
That was great.
mine still wants to watch like younger kids stuff.
Yeah.
She's not ready for Captain Lou Albano dressed like Super Mario. It does all come back to wrestling.
yeah.
That show is the best. I love it.
It hasn't aged all that well. Like the guy who played Luigi, like he's got to be dead now, right? Like
Oh,
He is
yeah.
dead. He died a few years back.
okay, yeah.
He died like a year after Alabama. No, that
No,
way
I
after
want to
Alabama.
say Luigi just died last year.
Was it last
Yeah,
year?
he just died.
It was pretty recent.
Captain Lou a long time ago,
Yeah.
but Luigi just died, and I remember there was a couple other guest stars on there that have also died too, and it's watching it's just like weird now.
Yeah. It's like you're just watching a fucking 20-minute coffin dance around.
But then again, so is like watching old wrestling. If you go back and watch like Royal Rumbles from the 80s and stuff, half the guys are dead now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think that's with like any like old movie and stuff too. But yeah, that's something where it's like, oh, you watch this and here's a guy presumably in the peak of physical health, doing all this crazy shit and leaping off the top rope and doing flips or whatever. And then it's like, yeah, he died like not that long ago. Like, or you get situations like fucking Chris Benoit, and it's like, oh yeah, that guy was a piece of shit.
I'm pretty sure they're never gonna talk about him.
No,
again.
no, they just never mention him ever again. It's just it's a black hole where they try to like creatively cut around stuff. From what I heard,
I think they're coming around with some of his stuff. Like they'll mention him in documentaries now. They've left his matches in the pay-per-views on the WWE network, but they're not like going out of their way to say, "Hey, Chris Benoit was one of us."
Yeah,
or
not
anything
throwing
like
him in the Hall of Fame again.
Yeah.
yeah, oof. Yeah, that was a rough because that situation.
He was my favorite wrestlers too.
Chris Benoit was fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
When I started wrestling, I wanted to be like a mix between Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho, with like
That's a great mix.
like flashy but intense.
Fucking
I just like Canadian Chris's.
What is like your? Well, I know you talked about like the superhero style, like character, but what is like your style in the ring? Like, how do you approach it? Are you like more of like a methodical kind of like old school wrestling, or is it like a lot of like jumping off of stuff?
Well, when I was a good guy, I did a lot of flashy moves. I used to do the backflips and stuff. I used to do this one move where like I'd start off like the rock bottom. But instead of like bouncing off the ropes normal, I do a handspring off that and then do a backflip onto the person in the middle of the ring. I used to do this move that I ripped off of Sabu, where like say we're on the outside of the ring and my opponent's on the floor and I'm standing on the apron. I'll hold onto the top rope, jump up, swing my legs over the top rope, bounce off my ass off the top rope, and then do a backflip to the outside on him. But I don't do any of these moves now that I'm a bad guy, because if you do those moves, the crowd is going to cheer you. So now I just fight dirty constantly. Like I'll be the guy who's choking my opponent with the ring apron, or when the ref's not looking, hitting my opponent with brass knuckles.
Nice. Change your names like Nutshot Nick.
In my last match 2 weeks ago, I was in this. No, it was just last weekend. It was a last chance title shot contract on a pole match. The point of the match is you got to climb up the turnbuckle and get a contract off the pole. My opponent was about to give me his chokeslam finisher, so I kicked him in the balls, reached into my tights, grabbed my brass knuckles, punched him. He fell towards the ropes. I exited the ring, reached under the ring, grabbed handcuffs, handcuffed him to the ropes, and sponsored him by drinking a fan's beer in front of him, and then walking over casually just up the turnbuckle and taking the contract off and signing it right in front of him, and he couldn't do anything about it.
It's fucking hilarious.
That's awesome. It's all show, like it's just, I love that you clearly have like, the showmanship quality for it.
Oh, the crowd hated me. It was great. I think it's also funny when I leave to do a wrestling event. I'm saying goodbye to my daughter, and my daughter's like, "Go, Daddy, go to the boom and the boom." That's what she calls wrestling. And beat up the bad guys. And I'm like, "But Cassidy, I am the bad guy."
That's not true. That's impossible.
No, you're the good guy. Okay, Cassidy, I'm the good guy.
Whatever you gotta tell yourself to sleep at night, kid.
Well, look, the best.
Don't ever ask about the family business again.
Look, the best villains think that they're the hero, right? So you can, if in that case, your kid thinks they're your hero.
That's kind of what my gimmick right now is. I still think I'm a hero, but fuck the fans.
unless they're buying merch, in which case, yes,
I'm gonna win. I'll come out at intermission and shake hands and kiss babies. Babies! Then I'll come out of the ring and I'll flip those babies off. Thanks for buying my shirt, you tool.
Have you ever encountered someone that like clearly didn't get it?
Oh yeah, constantly.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Like they got like, are they like following you out to the parking lot to be like, "Hey man, I didn't like it when you flipped off my baby."
Yeah. I mean, I've never been in a situation where I thought I was going to be stabbed, but like people will still yell at me after the show. I used to have license plates with my name on them. I switched those and then give them back. I don't want people knowing which car is mine. I come out, slash tires.
No way, man.
It's not often. Mostly the kids, because they still believe it's like fully on the level. Like I'm really that bad guy, but occasionally an adult will just not get it.
That's so fucking weird. Grown-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So how often do you do it? When you said you had a match last week, so is it like a weekly or bi-weekly kind of thing?
It all depends on how often you get booked. Like sometimes I'm working like 3 weekends. I'm not a crazy busy guy wrestling. I'd like more bookings, but I also have 2 jobs and I'm a parent, so I don't go out and try to get myself booked as much as I should. So sometimes I'll only work. Sometimes I'll only work once a month. Sometimes 3 times, and it's just different every month. I know other guys that are like wrestling 4 nights a week every week.
Oof, man.
But they're single. They live. There's not that many indie shows around New York because of the sports commission. They still treat wrestling like it's a sport, and they're even harder on us now that MMA just got okayed in New York, but in like New Jersey, they don't. The sports commission doesn't care. So like you don't need a license like in New York to run shows. So anybody could just run a show. So my friends that live in Jersey, they're working all over the place because there's just shows all over the place. And unless I want to go down to Jersey every weekend, you know, I can't get booked as much up here in New York. There's a couple of companies that run New York. They do have licenses with the Athletic Commission. And I just try to get on as much local ones as I can because I still, you know, I need to sleep after working 15 hours all week with the 2 jobs, and I want to see my daughter, you know. So,
yeah.
If I book 3 shows a month, I'm really happy. If I only do 1, I'm still doing it. I'm happy, you know. I'm also in my mid-30s and I've got bad knees. I can't be doing it 4 times a week like some people I know. They're younger, they're healthier, they're better situated to do that kind of thing.
Yes.
I forgot my question.
Yeah, I had no idea that New York had those kind of like rules and regulations about wrestling, because it's something that you know, I can't imagine. Well, I guess it's booking sports, not just wrestling. It's like, oh, I have to get a license if I want,
Right.
you know, this offensive stereotype to fight that offensive stereotype in the squared circle. Rules are rules, New York.
One of the reasons Vince McMahon back in the day made the distinction between it being you know, instead of saying it was wrestling, he started saying it was wrestling entertainment, was because he wanted to get by the athletic commissions in every state, and a lot of states eased up on wrestling because of that. New York did not. There has to be a doctor in the back to check your pulse and stuff before you go out. There has to be mats around the ring. You have to have an ambulance on call, which, you know, costs the promoter money, which in turn means there's less money to pay the wrestlers. You know, like they're really strict on wrestling in New York. In New Jersey, hell, you could set up a ring in a field in a parking lot and have a show. Like, they don't care. It's not considered a sport in New Jersey.
So like the state line is like, it's like sport, not a sport. Like it's cool. It's cool. Dude, come on over to New Jersey. Anything goes. You want to wrestle that goat? Do it. I'll charge.
No one leaves until everyone's concussed.
One of my wrestling goals is to wrestle a bear.
Yeah. This is all we're talking about the rest of the show.
Yeah, really. What the fuck?
I didn't realize I had fucking Zangief in my home. Awesome.
Does that
How do we make this happen?
I don't know.
We just have to go to Jersey. We just have to go to Jersey, guys.
Internet, you all have resources we don't have. Get a fucking bear delivered to my house now. I want to see this.
Not BJ's house. He doesn't have a license.
Yeah,
Oh,
never gotta go.
I got a license. This curio is probably a license, right?
That's it.
I
Yes,
just use that as a distraction. That's the Jedi mind trick in my house. The curio.
the gaming commission, sports commission shows up. It's like, oh well, have you seen this curio? No. Wow.
Where's your license? It's right here in my curio.
It's right here in my curio.
Is that a Joker statue? Which one? There's several.
It might look like a Spider-Gwen figure, but
But it's a license. It's valid.
No, I heard that the 2017 license looked like Spider-Gwen figures. It was a cross promotion with Marvel. They just went and did it.
You're right. You heard right. Get the fuck out of my house so I can let this bear out.
So, wait. Explain the bear.
back in like the 70s and 80s, when it was more like there's like attractions, like Andre the Giant was an attraction. He would come to your town maybe once a year, and you'd go because Andre's there. And they'd have other attractions like midget matches, and women's matches was an attraction back then. It wasn't every week on TV. Every once in a while, an attraction would be, oh, Tracy Smothers is going to wrestle a bear today. So you go, you buy tickets, and you'd go to the Sportatorium or whatever, and you'd watch Tracy Smothers wrestle a bear. I want to do that.
I'm falling into a big Google hole tonight. I'm so glad I got nothing to do tomorrow.
Just picturing how to get bear.
How to compare?
BJ,
How to compare?
BJ's gonna end up in a bunch of like weird gay singles rooms.
Or just in the next Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah, wait. You don't really mean to you want to wrestle just a big hairy gay guy, right? Like that's not what you're trying to go on.
That sounds a lot easier.
Yeah, because we could probably line that up.
That's obviously what I meant.
I was wondering why you called me Zanky.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
The bears are dangerous. Bears are friendly. What are we talking about?
And they still do weird attraction matches like that. If you look on
Wrestle a tentacle monster.
They'll do matches where you'll wrestle an inflatable sex doll.
I mean,
well, of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Yeah, wrestle in quotes.
Kenny Omega's
Wrestle.
wrestled a 9-year-old girl.
What? That's hilarious. Holy shit.
She was good too.
We gotta get to Japan.
Yeah, right?
Fight a giant hentai beast. You know, there's a lot of options, I think, in there.
That sounds way more fun, and you're Andre the Giant in Japan. To be honest.
Well, there was what was it, Kaju Big Battle? They had there was like a wrestling organization that they all fought in like monster costumes. Like
they still run around.
Oh, do they really?
Yes, every once in a while they'll do like Starland Ballroom or they'll do Brooklyn.
Why aren't they making video games out of that shit?
I don't want WWE games anymore. I want that.
Yeah, wrestle as Godzilla versus Mothra, and it's like, yeah, this is.
Yeah, I want to see Godzilla. This is a 9-year-old girl.
My sister that doesn't like wrestling wants to go see Kaiju Big Battle.
Sounds fucking rad.
I saw some of it in college. I never got to see it live, but for some reason they sent the radio station in college like DVDs and stuff to give away, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take this home because when am I ever gonna see this again? And it was like, this is incredible.
Yeah, I want to see it live too. Every time they're around, I'm busy. I haven't caught an opportunity. I've known about them for years, and every single time I'm busy. Like either I'm wrestling or I got tickets to a concert or something. It just never worked out, but I'd love to see it sometime. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, Godzilla waits for no man, so I understand. What's been some of your like more crazier matches that you have done? Have you wrestled any other animals or?
Was there something smaller that made you think about? I could probably take a bear.
Up to a bear. That time I wrestled a really big goat or a cow or something. And it's like, yeah,
I bought a garbage bag full of Wolverines. It's kind of like a bear.
Just a bunch of Wolverine action figures. It was real tough. The springs popped out, man. Those things will get in your eye. You got to be careful.
Oh, yeah, man.
Nah, nothing too crazy. I mean, I've done hardcore matches and steel cage matches. We've done stuff like where we've dumped out on the ring like hundreds of beer bottle caps and slammed each other out.
I saw an animated GIF, I think, online of someone that did that with pieces of Legos.
Oh yeah. Legos became a big thing like a couple years ago. So we were like, well, Legos have been done.
Yeah.
What do we do that hasn't been done? And we just drank bottled beer for 2 months and saved all the cap and,
That's fucking
and used
awesome.
those in a match.
My favorite line of this show so far is Legos have been done. What else can we do?
What else can two grown men roll around on a ring with? What else you got? Yeah.
One time, do you remember the Sandman from ECW?
Yeah.
One time I wrestled him, and he hit me with his Singapore cane so hard that not only did I have a welt across my head, I had a welt across my back because it completely wrapped around my head.
Holy shit.
Fucking awesome. Holy shit. That's so cartoonish sounding. Like just a stick wrapping around somebody's head.
The only thing that would have made it crazier is if he hit you so hard that the thing wrapped around, grabbed you by the back of the trunks and gave you a wedgie as he pulled it back up.
And in tonight's Looney Tunes match.
Hit Benny Hill theme, boys. We're ready to go.
He hit me with the Acme Singapore cane.
Then he painted a big hole in the wall and ran into it.
Then he just saw a bunch of like little cartoon road runners running around his head, and then that was it. That was the end of the match. So your upcoming match is for the title. Have you won these titles before?
I was the ECPW Hudson Valley Aggression Champion for almost a year. I won that at Burke Catholic High School. We did a show in their gym.
It's right down the fucking road from where we're recording.
Yeah, I told you about it, and you were busy.
Oh, yeah. I had a show.
Yeah.
I had to wrestle a bear.
Oh, man. You missed it.
You should have asked me to be your tag team partner.
I didn't know you were busy.
But I won it there, and I kept it for almost a year, and they wanted to move me up to the heavyweight title, so I had to drop that the aggression title. So I was like, I've been defending this thing for a year, so we gotta do something big. So I lost it in a steel cage match, and it was a lot of fun. That was always one of my dreams too, to do a steel cage match, and check that one off the list.
That was the first time?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh yeah.
It
was.
By look fun, I mean it looks fun when I watch them from a safe distance.
Well, it was the cage actually cut you up. I was cut up the next day.
Right, they're made of cages.
Yeah, they are made of metal.
Yeah, no, they used all the bottle caps for that other match, so all we had left to make the steel cage are stringed up blankets and Beanie Babies. So you're in luck.
Oh man, we should have a Beanie Baby match, just a comedy match, and just
Comedy match.
Or no, you could do the
comedy matches. I like a good comedy match on every show too.
yeah.
We got this one guy, Messiah Glass, who wrestles as a Hasidic Jew, and he comes with this giant hat and he throws it at people, and they hits them and they can't get up. Or,
Oh my god!
people will throw peace in the match and then it'll distract
In the Hudson Valley, this guy does that?
Yes.
Wow, taking your life into your hands, guy.
In fact, he wrestled at Burke Catholic High School one time. And
Oh.
thought he was gonna throw it out the building.
Were they all like, what the hell's that guy?
Oh no! He didn't wrestle at Burke. He wrestled at St. Patrick's Church, and then we thought
That's not any better.
I'm picturing your Beanie Baby match as like one of those Money in the Bank matches where you have the suitcase and they go to open the suitcase at the end and it's just full of Beanie Babies. It's like, no, those are worth a lot of money. We bought them in the 90s, mid condition.
I actually can't think of a way that Beanie Babies can be used in wrestling.
Not unless you have a gimmick that's like the guy's gimmick is the collector, and then his Beanie Babies get like torn apart in the ring as revenge.
Not my Princess Diane.
They all get destroyed, and then he moves on to My Little Pony, and things get real weird.
Well, and in this corner, the Brony.
The oh god, I'm pulling the fuck out of that guy. I'm gonna spend all my money following that guy around and booing the shit out of him.
I think I'm looking at a My Little Pony on Brigier shelf.
I have a daughter. Okay. You asshole. Oh no, that's Jackie from when she was a kid. I have one because Esme gave it to me.
Aww.
It happens to be my favorite one from the show, though.
Like that you had to stop.
Guys.
You had to
In
stop.
his defense,
It's not
it's
even
not
your
just-
daughter's. It is yours, and you're like, oh wait, no, that was mine. That one's mine.
In
Yeah.
his defense, he does not have it displayed in the curio cabinet.
No.
So that means it doesn't mean that much to him. Clearly.
Nope. Snagglepuss means more to me than my daughter's heartfelt gift.
The curio is just for Darkwing Ducks and wrestling licenses.
That was a fantastic callback. Oh. Oh.
You ever get discouraged during the training process when you weren't booking a lot of shows in the beginning?
Yeah, well, a little bit because it was like, 2-hour drive there, 2-hour drive back, 3 times a week. Sitting through the New Jersey traffic through like Newark and stuff, and it was kind of grating on both my wife that I was never around and our money because of all the travel. I was, all the gas and the cost of training and and I wasn't getting booked too much in the beginning and it was a little discouraging, but I did love it and I just continued trucking on and I did a year and a half of training and I got through it and I book here and there and life goes on.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's nice. I'm a quitter. I like to quit things. It's my favorite thing to do.
Start things just to quit them.
Yeah.
See, I found it's easier.
Coach my kid's sports team for a week and a half and be like, nah, I'm out.
I found it's easier.
Kids are mark ass busters.
I found it's easier just not to try. That way. It's just why bother? I'm better sitting down.
You don't get to say I quit. That's a big part of my life. Telling people I quit.
You can tell people you gave it a try. You don't even have to tell them you quit, but you gave it a try.
or you just not show up anymore. Just like I don't know. I'll be there, and then just not go there.
I'll be there.
Oh yeah, no, I was there. You didn't see me. Oh.
So are we starting this first communion without James or what?
That sounded like me in college. Every semester I'd start like, all right, I'm going to do this. Halfway through semester, I just stopped going.
The roll call just gets awkward, especially if they can't pronounce your last name.
Migs.
Even in college, I would just write Migs on the top of my papers. The teachers would know who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, BJ, if you had a wrestling name, what would it be? Because I feel like I don't have like a nickname. I've never seen too many nicknames, but I guess like Migs works. But I mean, like, well, do you have a go-to of like what your wrestling name would be?
Meat Sweats. Everybody in the house calls me Meat Sweats.
If you had a tag team partner, would you call yourself BJ and the Bear?
If it's a bear, it has to be a bear, even if it's a gay guy, but it has to be some sort of bear.
Just a guy in a bear costume. You guys are really furries, and it's, you're fighting for your rights.
No, I don't want to be in a bear. No, I don't want to be the furry, but I would like a bear costume partner, yes.
I think in Connecticut there's this company called Interspecies Wrestling.
Get the fuck out of here.
People, looking like regular wrestlers, fighting wrestlers that are dressed up like animals and stuff. How did you missed your call?
Yes.
Yeah, really.
I fucked my life up. I can't start now.
One of my friends wrestles there as Fluffy the Bunny.
That's adorable.
He's a murderous rabbit.
That's a Monty Python.
Yeah, right. A Monty Python. So I feel like you could with the internet now. Those kind of things have more of a place than ever before.
Well, they've always had a place in my heart. And now there's an outlet for people to see them.
Yeah, now there's a bunch of people in Japan going like, I gotta see this bunny. This bunny's gonna kick ass.
I gotta see this bunny.
They're tired of wrestling 9-year-old girls. They want to see the bunny.
God, everything's gotta be 100 feet tall and breathe fire. How about a bunny?
I mean, that's gotta be hot. Are they in a suit or are they just like bunny ears and like makeup?
It better be a suit.
Like a wrestling mask, like a normal lucha mask, but it looks like a bunny and it's got ears. So it's like wrestling, and then he wears like bloody hospital scrubs.
What? What kind of fucking terrible Dr. Bunny is this?
Dr. Bunny. He lost his license.
Fluffy, the malpractice bunny.
He lost his license to practice medicine, but he got a new one to kill. Stuff writes itself.
Also available from the Curio.
All rabbits do is eat and shit and wrestle to the death.
I came here to kick ass and eat carrots, and I'm all out of carrots.
His finisher move is to fuck like a rabbit, so it's just constantly.
Oh Jesus! Fucks the shit out of the guy. You're done. I'm finished.
And the winner and still champion, Little Bunny Foo-Foo.
I'm gonna make all these animal wrestlers tonight as soon as he gets out of here. I'm gonna fucking play that wrestling game all night now.
He's gonna create a wrestler.
Yep.
Well,
everybody's gonna have Rey Mysterio's moves. Well, big ass bear flying around.
What were your like wrestling heroes growing up?
I was really into Undertaker and Razor Ramon and
I forgot about Razor
Ramon.
Fucking oozing machismo.
Yeah.
God, that's a gross thing to say.
Yeah.
Oozing.
Is that you should probably get that looked at. I mean, that sounds like it's infected.
It's a discharging machismo.
That's what I call my STDs.
Like I said, I liked Chris Benoit. I liked what he used to do in the ring. He was fantastic. I ripped off a lot of stuff from Sabu, who just used to do insane stuff, but always got over, even if it hurt himself.
That seems to be pretty much everyone's MO, right? Like, I'm going to put myself in danger constantly, as long as I keep getting paid.
I don't know. Yeah. I had heroes growing up. I don't style myself after a lot of them because a lot of them, grew up and all the wrestlers were like almost 7 feet tall, and I'm 5'9", so I can't do the kind of things that they used to do.
Hey, if Muggsy Bogues can be a professional basketball player.
Well, that's it. I'm gorilla press slamming everybody over my head now.
Fuck yeah. Just like Muggsy Bogues. I don't know what that had to do with basketball, but boy, did he love gorilla pressing.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that in Space Jam, and it was kind of like a crazy move, but it worked.
I forgot Muggsy Bogues was
That's the only place I know him from. Did you actually watch basketball?
Yes, I like sports, James.
I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. You're a real boy, and I'm just over here with fucking comic books and shit.
Well, let's see what Jackie has to say.
Remind me some more.
Gross. That's his nose, man. I'm gonna bleach that out at the end of the night.
I'm trying to think of any other wrestling things to ask you. I feel like I had more stuff to ask you about, and I'm just like, wasn't wrestling cool?
What was the moment?
Yes, wrestling was cool. Next question.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a bummer. I'd probably watch it still if I had cable.
Yeah, I don't have cable either.
Yeah.
Well, they have that with the WWE Network thing, right?
Yeah, I do have the WWE Network.
How much is that?
It's $9.99 a month.
Oh, that's not bad.
If you
Without pay-per-views, I would imagine.
No, it has pay-per-views.
No, yeah, get everything, right?
Yeah. The only problem with it is they don't show Raws and SmackDowns when they air. They show them a couple weeks later.
Weeks later?
Yeah, because they have a contract with USA Networks.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's fucking brutal.
Right, so I've never caught up on wrestling until I'll watch the pay-per-view and I'll because they'll air those live and I'll see this person's fighting that person. I'll be like, oh, I guess that person's fighting that person. I had no idea before right now.
Shit, that sucks.
I mean,
Get the fuck off, USA. How are you still a network?
Between stuff like Netflix and Hulu and stuff, the only reason to still have cable is sports.
Yes.
Yeah, but then there's so many sports depending on what sports you're into, there are sports specific streaming packages like the WWE, NHL, MLB, all them have their own streaming stuff.
That shit is hundreds of dollars.
Is it?
By themselves?
Yeah,
over the NFL fucking package,
shit.
Dude. That shit is a nightmare to pay for.
See, that stuff's gonna come down, because as more and more people start getting rid of cable, it's going to come down. I mean, ESPN, they're gonna come out with their own network, their own streaming service too.
I heard Disney's taking all their stuff off of Netflix and
Yeah.
making their own.
They're getting our money.
That's like how much money have we already given Disney over the years? Just play your stuff on Netflix.
Yeah, seeing as how you make like, I don't know, 40% of the movies every year, like just released a free streaming service.
Between Marvel and Star Wars alone,
Yeah.
Disney's fucking bank. They don't even have to make their own movies anymore.
No, Netflix is losing all the Defenders shows too.
Are they really?
Yeah, Disney's gonna be airing The Punisher. Think about that for a second. I don't think anybody at Disney thought about that for a second.
No. They're like, oh yeah, like so. Let's see. Recommended. You might because you watched Winnie the Pooh. You might like The Punisher.
You might like the motherfucking Punisher. Keep this trailer, Christopher Robin. Oh fuck! I've been stabbed a billion times.
The Punisher,
no bother.
The Punisher ends. Now, would you like to watch Moana?
You're welcome.
Also starring The Rock. See, it all ties together.
Yeah.
No.
Me and my daughter love Moana. I think
Fucking
Moana.
movie's awesome.
I think that's the best movie they've done in 20 years.
It's fantastic. I love it too.
That's it. That's a really fucking great movie.
I actually got the Maui tattoo.
Oh shit! That looks
really?
great. Yeah, he's got
The Maui tattoo.
the mini Maui tattoo.
Oh wow,
that
that's
dances
awesome.
around. That looks great.
Yeah, thanks.
That movie's fucking rad.
Yeah, it really is.
The Rock's the best.
Do you think he'll run for president?
No, of course not. That would be stupid.
I mean,
you know what? Would it be stupid?
yeah, I mean, think about that for a second.
I don't know if he'll actually.
I don't know what's stupid and what's not anymore.
I mean, the slogans alone would be worth it for it. So
laying the smackdown on foreign policy and stuff.
yeah, just going and bringing.
What in the blue hell is your problem, North Korea?
And now my Secretary of Foreign Affairs, the Iron Sheik, is here to deliver this.
Oh, bad idea. Yeah, no, we're kibotching this. No fucking way. That guy can't say anything without saying, fuck you! You little dick, fuck you! All right, Sheik. All right, Sheik, you're talking to Angela Merkel. Relax.
See, there's a lot of possibilities.
Make your back, make you humble.
Oh, Jesus. We're at a VA, Sheik. Jesus Christ, relax.
You're giving a speech at the National Boy Scouts of America.
They should be humbler.
Yeah,
okay.
We're back at the Boy Scouts.
Look, I really don't think this is the time.
Raisin balls.
Raisin balls.
Look, we talked about this, Sheik. Okay, there's a time and a place for it, and at the hurricane disaster relief when we're handing out soup, I really don't think that's the time to be yelling at these people.
Calling everybody raisin balls at a disaster relief. That's the America I want to live in now that we've talked it out.
Yeah, see?
That sounds funny as hell.
It doesn't sound that bad. It's certainly better than the alternative.
Mr. Sheik, how do you feel about this national scandal? I don't give a crap. I should have beat Hulk Hogan in Madison Square Garden. I should have broke his legs.
Hey, Sheik. Maybe we'll just get you a Snickers and send you off stage.
I love that the impression of the Sheik sounds like the guy in that New York episode of The Simpsons that sold Homer the cloud kalash and the
crab juice.
Crab juice. All we have are our Mountain Dew and crab juice. Yeah, give me the crab juice.
Give me the crab juice.
And that's an episode that'll never air in syndication again. So.
No, right? Yeah,
because of the towers. Yeah, there's specifically a joke of like, oh, they put all the jerks in Tower 1. It's like, yep, that can't be aired ever again. Never forget.
Oh man. Never forget the Simpsons predicted there'd be a bunch of jerks in one tower. Ooh. I'm fired for that one, I think.
Yeah, so anyway, Keith, what are the best places to find you online?
I guess Google Earth. We'll put my address at the end of the episode. I'm going into hiding.
So anyway, no, seriously, Keith, what are the best places to find you online?
I guess I got a Facebook page for the Migs. That's facebook.com/Migs Pro Wrestler. It's Migs with 1 G, M-I-G-S. Everybody wants to spell it with 2 G's, even though there's only 1 G in Migliurini.
It's America, baby. Extra. Always extra.
That's the best place to find me, I guess. I post all my shows on there, and if I find pictures from the shows, I'll throw them on there. I got a YouTube channel with matches. It's the same, youtube.com/Migs Pro Wrestler. Wait, I think, no, that one might be Keith Migs. I don't know.
Okay. Well, in any case, we'll start. Yeah, just type in Migs wrestler.
Migs. How many fucking Migs are there in the world who wrestle?
You know what's really weird?
Do a little of the legwork, internet, you fucking slobs.
What do we got? Do everything for you?
If you type in Migs wrestling, I think there's lots of videos of this random kid who videotapes himself playing with his wrestling toys.
I'm also interested in that.
Yeah. Is it not the same person? Because that would you could have like a
listen. After this podcast, BJ's looking up wrestling bears, wrestling sex dolls,
and
wrestling
kids playing with wrestling action figures.
Then I'm looking up how to get a new girlfriend because I'm probably losing mine at the end of this weekend.
See, hold on. I think there's an opportunity here. You could still pull in the whole superhero angle and have it like Shazam, and then that kid turns into you in the wrestling ring.
Is awesome.
You got to get in touch with this kid. You find out who his agent is.
You and Jackie break up over your YouTube obsession with random matches.
I'm moving in with you.
Who gets the curio in the divorce?
Oh shit! I don't know. I should have.
You should have gotten a prenup about that.
This doesn't drop till Wednesday, right? So I got time. I got time to go
time. Yeah, you got time to get your lawyer and get your curio prenup together. And that's the title of this episode.
They're gonna nail me to the wall about that 9/11 joke. I'm losing this whole cabinet.
Oh my god. So this was awesome. I'm so glad we got you on the show, Keith. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
So yeah, so now you're wrestling for the championship title well, when this airs, people will still have time to get tickets for that.
Yeah,
so we'll
still like a month away.
Yeah.
It's October 21st.
Oh.
At St. Patrick's Gym in Highland Mills.
There you go.
So,
Is the Amish guy gonna be there? Because I feel like that's great too if he's at the St. Patrick's Day.
He wasn't Amish. He was Hasidic. I guess the same difference, right, James? You fucking racist.
yeah. Turn it all back on me. That's great. Yeah. Forgetting a minute ago.
Just pass over me too. Yeah, he'll be there. Wait, Amish.
Just don't forget who edits this show.
Was it?
Yeah. Roadkill in ECW.
His name was Roadkill?
Yeah.
Please tell me his finishing move was at least called the Barn Raiser.
I don't remember.
But the one of the shittiest things I've ever done it's wrestling related. I played when SmackDown 2 came out on PlayStation 1, you could rename all the super moves. And the super moves, the finishing move, and I renamed the Stone Cold Stunner the Christopher Reeves.
Wow,
it's still the best joke I've ever told. The jokes are good.
There's a super joke about a super move.
Get out.
Did you see that picture? Shortly after
I don't know where else to go.
Did you see that picture that was floating around after Inauguration Day of all the McMahons sitting with President Trump? And they said it's like 42% of the people in this photo have been stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin, including the president.
I think the percentage was actually higher.
Because it's like all of them. Basically, it was except for the kids. But you know they're next. You know they're next.
Yeah, They're not safe either.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Stone Cold stunning an 8-year-old and then dumping beer in his face.
I'm fucking in.
Kenny Omega can wrestle a 9-year-old girl in Japan.
Fucking right. We can't throw a beer in a kid's face? I thought this was America!
Yeah, what the hell?
They're Vince McMahon's grandkids. I'm sure he'll okay it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family business, Junior.
As long as he doesn't have to pay them much at all.
Yeah. Go ahead, put on this headdress. It'll be great.
Yeah. Use some steroids before you go out there, though, kiddo.
You're working for scale.
Because you're scale.
All right, are we good? I think that's good. It's a good place to end it. You guys are really quiet now.
I don't know.
That was an abrupt stop. I'm good now.
Yeah, good now.
I'm gonna shut up.
You're gonna shut up for 5 minutes so I can end this show?
We really packed a lot of 9/11 and like,
Beating up kids
and throwing fucking alcohol into their eyeballs.
You know,
in like 5 minutes.
Racist jokes and gay jokes.
Yeah.
Pretty action-packed finale for the episode.
This is really just par for the course.
The third act.
So yeah. You know, and here's the thing.
This isn't a nerdcast. This is a Fensicon.
Fensicon.
Well, look,
they got rid of that transformer real quick.
It's a Fensicon and the Agrobots here to take you guys out. Oh, do you even take any Energon, bro? What do you do? What do you got over there? All right. So, on that note, usual place to find us and whatnot, RagingNerdOn.com, at RagingNerdOnPod on Twitter, and RagingNerdOn@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with us and write to us about your about BJ's 9/11 humor, which he keeps bringing up. Yeah. Otherwise, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, etc. But yeah, that's it. I think. Then I've been James Ferguson.
I'll be honest, I'm probably just going to skip straight to looking up sex dolls without any of the wrestling parts.
Keith, this is where you say your name, too.
Oh, hi, I'm Migs. Come watch me wrestle, and more importantly, buy my t-shirts.
There you go. Nerd on, everybody. So I'm glad that we were able to have you on. You're definitely a welcome addition to the show.
Oh, thank you. I like how I come onto a nerd podcast and we end up talking about the NFL.
It happens every now and then. Every now and then we talk like for about 15 seconds about sports because I'm like, I make a sports reference and James is like, I don't know what that is. So, Star Wars.
Yeah. Can you put it in terms of comic books so I can understand?
Super Pro.
Oh, got it. Okay, totally there.
The refrigerator Perry was a G.I. Joe.
That's true. It's fucking, I had that goddamn toy.
And so was Sergeant Slaughter, bringing it back to wrestling.
Fucking right.
But hey, you're definitely welcome on the show anytime. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm saying that, assuming that BJ's just gonna let you into his house all the time. So, if you want,
I'm assuming he's saying that because I'm probably not gonna be hosting the show. This is also a running threat with this motherfucker.
Yeah, so tune in next week when
sports and Italy hating for no reason.
So tune in next week when me
have to be your replacement.
Yeah. No, I'm just interviewing. That's why I've been asking about guests for so long. It's just who else can we get on the show? Who else is available?
I'm gonna book all my 9/11 jokes. I'm gonna and my hipster rants, and I'm going to Beacon to sell it. There's my plug. Just lost Beacon and 9/11 people.
Well, they were dead anyway, so don't worry about it.
Transfer to you. Oh. You're not gonna put this in the episode,
nope,
are you?
Nope,
are you?
Not even a little bit.
They're fucking mutt.
You just attacked his joke like a plane.
Oh my god! All right, shut it down. This is gonna go on for another hour.
Yeah. Part 2.
Oh god.
All right.
My tummy hurts.
Yeah. All right.
I'm so sweaty by the end of this fucking show. I can't turn the air conditioner on. Like, we're recording in the living room right next to the air conditioner, so I've just been dripping for the entire fucking time.
And sweating like a bear.
And, and Meat Sweats lives up to his name.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, guys. This is a blast. I'm gonna go now. You guys do whatever you're gonna do together for the rest of the night. looking up sex dolls and
Take
pairs.
Keith out and stand naked in front of the air conditioner for 40 minutes.
He's gonna kick me out so he can disrobe and watch sex doll wrestling.
No, I'm gonna disrobe and watch Godzilla fight a 9-year-old. All right, I just grossed myself out.
Yeah.
Never mind. All right, everybody.
Good night, man. All right,
James,
goodbye.
get out of my house.
James, it was good not seeing you again.
Yeah. And BJ, it was also good not seeing you again. As
I
usual.
know, that's what everybody says until they see me again.
All right, later, guys.